In the heart of Ekun village, where red earth roads curled like sleeping pythons, parents told their children a story in hushed voices. It wasn't just any story, it was about snakes. Not ordinary snakes, but serpents that swallowed money and guarded secrets older than the oldest baobab tree. Ekun was a place where wealth and poverty lived side by side. Some houses had shiny zinc roofs, while others were patched with rust and hope. The villagers believed money, like water, always found its way to those who knew where to dig. And some, they whispered, dug in forbidden places. At the edge of the village lived a man named Oladamaji, or just Daimji. He had once been so poor that hunger was his daily companion. But then, almost overnight, his fortune changed. He built a large house with tall gates and bought cars no one in Ekun had ever seen before. He threw money around carelessly, as if it weighed nothing. But people noticed something else, too. Daimji never joked about snakes. If one crossed the road, he would stop his car and wait patiently. If someone even mentioned killing a snake, his face would harden like stone. Children swore that at night they saw long, silent shadows sliding across the walls of his compound. That's when the rumors began. His money is guarded, old Mama Benny said one evening at the village square. Guarded by what? A young man asked. By snakes that swallow wealth, she replied, her eyes fixed on the fire. According to the elders, these were spiritual serpents summoned through dark rituals. Once you fed them money cash, coins, even gold, they would grow powerful. In return, they multiplied their owner's wealth, but there was a catch. The pact came with conditions. The snakes had to be fed regularly, and betrayal meant death. Most people just laughed it off. It was a good story for a cool evening, nothing more. Until the day Kunnel disappeared. Kunnel was Daimji's cousin, a quiet man who had recently moved in with him. One morning, Kunnel was seen entering Daimji's compound. By evening, he was gone. His phone rang and rang, but no one answered. Days turned into a week. There was no trace of him. Suspicion spread through the village like a harmattan fire. People looked at Daimji's big house with new eyes, with fear. Then, one night, something happened that Ekun village would never forget. A heavy rain fell, the kind that drowns out all sound and washes away courage. Around midnight, Daimji's neighbors heard a strange noise like heavy sacks of grain being dragged across the ground. A low hiss followed, deep and angry. One brave woman, her heart pounding, peeped through a crack in her window, and she screamed. From a gap in Daimji's tall gate, enormous snakes were slipping out into the rainy night. Their bellies were swollen, stretched tight as if stuffed with more than just a meal. And as they moved, something inside them clinked faintly, a metallic sound, unmistakable, money. You could see the shapes of coins pressed against their scales. Bundles of notes were visible like dark shadows through their thin, stretched skin. The alarm was raised. Men came running out with torches and machetes, shouting prayers and curses into the storm. The snakes reared up, their eyes glowing with an unnatural, sinister light. One of them opened its mouth, and a bundle of cash fell out, soaked and crumpled on the muddy ground. Panic erupted. People scattered. Daimji ran out of his house, his face a mask of terror, but he wasn't screaming at the villagers. He was screaming at the snakes. Go back! Go back! He shouted, his voice cracking, but the serpents didn't obey. They just kept coming, their swollen bellies dragging in the mud. In the middle of the chaos, the village priest, Baba Ifakunal, arrived. He was old and leaned on a carved staff, but his voice was calm amidst the terror. He looked at the scene, at the snakes and the horrified villagers, and he said, "These snakes have eaten more than money. They have eaten blood." At his words, the largest snake convulsed violently. Its body twisted and thrashed, and then it split open. What spilled onto the muddy ground was not just cash. It was bones, human bones, Kunnel's bones. Women wailed, their cries mixing with the thunder. Strong men fell to their knees in shock. Dainji collapsed, sobbing, confessing everything right there in the rain. He told them how, years ago, in desperation, he was introduced to the ritual. The priest who helped him had given him a strict warning: feed the snakes only money, never human life, but greed is a hunger that only grows. When his business slowed down, when the fear of losing it all crept into his heart, he was told the snakes needed a stronger offering, a relative. Blood of the same root. After consuming both money and life, the snakes had grown wild. They no longer multiplied his wealth, they demanded it. They began to consume everything Dainji owned, regurgitating cash only to swallow it again, endlessly, insatiably hungry. Baba Ifakunal raised his staff and began chanting ancient prayers. The ground seemed to tremble. One by one, the giant snakes turned to ash, the money inside them burning into nothingness, the smoke rising into the stormy sky. By morning, the rain had stopped. Dainji's grand mansion stood empty and cracked, looking as if it had been abandoned for decades. Dainji himself was found alive, but his mind was gone. For years, he wandered the village, muttering about hissing voices and heavy bellies filled with coins. From that day on, no one in Ekun village ever envied sudden wealth again. Parents taught their children a new lesson, one that endured longer than fear. Money swallowed by darkness will always come back with teeth. And even today, on quiet nights, when the wind moves strangely through the tall grass, some villagers still swear they can hear a faint sound of coins clinking deep beneath the earth where the serpents once slept.